The light from some of these stars began its journey more than 110 million years ago. About the same time, the ancestor of one of our oldest mammals appeared on Earth. It survived the age of the dinosaurs and is still with us today. It's called the Echidna. Two Echidna researchers are unravelling the secrets of the Echidna's survival.
When we're working around Pelican Lagoon, we often see a little echidna named Spike. And he got his name because he's very prickly and very active. And he lets us get up very close to him and observe him without being disturbed. Now, all echidnas have very distinct personalities, and his shows up in his curiosity.
Spike spends most of his time on land, but he can swim quite easily.
We've come to small streams, and the echidna will just enter the stream, swim across, and of course if you track across yourself, find the animal, that's about the time he'll look and say, uh-oh, somebody's behind me, and he'll get back into the stream and swim across again.
Yeah, we often see echidnas along the beach on Kangaroo Island. Sometimes they're down foraging in the seaweed. Sometimes they'll get in the water itself. An echidna doesn't sweat and it doesn't pant. So when it needs to cool off, best place is in the water.
Spike lives on Kangaroo Island, off the coast of South Australia. The island was cut off from the mainland by rising sea levels after the last ice age 10,000 years ago. Its isolation slowed the pace of human development and preserved much of the original vegetation.
Kangaroo Island is a haven, I think, for a biologist, and so it's a perfect habitat for echidnas, and of course a perfect place actually to do a long-term study.
Two field biologists, Dr. Peggy Rissmiller and Mike McKelvey, originally from America, were attracted to Australia by the wildlife and now make Kangaroo Island their home.
Yeah, well, I think you heard us coming.
Yeah. I think it's about time we change that transmitter.
Digging in pretty well.
Oh, he sure is. Just a second, I think I've got him. Oh, he's very strong. I've always grown up loving nature, wanting to be in nature, be part of nature. And I guess I was lucky enough to somehow find the pathway of becoming a scientist.
Peggy's study looks at echidnas in the wild. Over 60 individuals are tagged and 30 are fitted with radio transmitters, which helps them keep track of the elusive echidnas. Their observations are creating a better understanding of echidna behaviour. Although its distribution is spread right across Australia, from desert to rainforest, no one knows whether it's thriving or just surviving.
Off you go, Curry. It's been a very dry autumn, so the echidna's food sources have actually gone very deep into the ground. Now, echidnas won't waste a lot of time or energy digging around when there's nothing to be found, so they actually respond to this environmental change by going into a state of suspended animation that we call torpor. The animals actually lower their body temperature, and I can measure that with a transmitter. They also lower their breathing, and they can save a lot of energy. This adaptation probably helped them survive for so long. Even when they're active, They have a lower body temperature than any other mammal in the world. If our body temperature was that low, we'd be dead.
Spike stays active. His excellent senses of hearing, smell and sight help him hide from predators at the slightest hint of danger. They also help him locate food. He enjoys termites, but his diet of invertebrates varies widely over the year. The nickname spiny anteater doesn't really do him justice. It's now July, midwinter in Australia. It's the echidna mating season, the only time these solitary animals get together. Peggy and Mike go out every day to try and find them.
Pretty active here today.
They find the first echidna train of the season. Up to 10 males follow a female until she's ready to mate. Kid, Hari and Cece surround the female, Onion. The train may break up and reform many times. Hari wanders off, but he might return or join other trains during the month-long courting period. The next day, Peggy and Mike find a female, Billy, with Casey and Eagle. Casey sniffs around her. Eagle stands and smells her footprints. A gland on her back foot is the most likely source of the scent that attracts him. Casey tries to get his tail under Billy's. If she's ready to mate, he'll stroke her spines with his foot until they move in rhythmic waves.
It took years of fieldwork and observations before we actually observed the first mating of echidnas in the wild, but it's never been filmed before. It really was a bit disappointing when Billy left the mating rut, because I was hoping that we could capture it for the first time.
Quite often we take a video camera along just to help record what we're seeing, because you run into a lot of things that might not be so believable unless you had the pictures to prove it. One day I was out following Fluke, female, and found her in a mallee stump with two other animals, Kiko and Cannon. Now Kiko was climbing around on the mallee stump, and he was using not only his feet, but he's using his spines to hang on, and he was pushing in towards the other animals. He was pushing rocks out of the way, and eventually he just pushed Fluke right out of the pile and into the scrub, and he followed her away. And there was old Cannon just left behind, wondering what had happened.
It was a bit disappointing when we didn't see Casey and Billy mating, but it was just 2 weeks later when I was out in the bush, I found Onion, a very young female, together with Hari, and they were joined together in mating. They must have been together for about half an hour, because as I watched, I saw Hari slowly separate from Onion and just saunter off into the bush. Because of their solitary lifestyle, they may never see each other again, unless they meet in one of the later breeding seasons.
Echidnas are generally thought to be nocturnal, but during the cooler winter temperatures, the Kangaroo Island echidnas remain active throughout the day. They forage in many different habitats, often walking several kilometres. Using his beak, Spike can break open soft insects and lap them up with his long, sticky tongue. Echidnas don't have teeth. They use their tongue to crush their food. A currawong sees a young goanna who lives inside a termite mound. The smell of termites wafts out through the entrance and attracts Spike's attention. Last summer, a female goanna dug into the termite mound and laid her eggs. The constant warmth incubates the eggs until the goannas hatch to a well-stocked larder of termites. Since goannas are one of the few natural predators of echidnas, it's ironic that Spike's a real threat to the hatchlings. His spines could accidentally spear them. Their first instinct is to escape, but it'll be a race against time with the currawongs. It's late in winter. Peggy and Mike search the reeds near the beach to find Pip. She attracted a mating train a few weeks ago, and they want to check her pouch. They're looking not for a newborn echidna, but for an egg, because these remarkable creatures are egg-laying mammals. They're known as monotremes, and there are only two others, the platypus and the long-beaked echidna that lives in New Guinea. Egg-laying is one of the intriguing behaviours that attracted Peggy and Mike to do a long-term study. They believe it may be a secret to the echidna's survival.
Oh, it looks like she's already got a pretty good pouch. No, there's no egg there yet.
No egg.
No,
Okay.
We'll check her in a couple days.
Since echidna's discovery by scientists more than 200 years ago, some of the mysteries of their reproduction have remained unsolved. How does the egg get into the pouch? It's one of many questions Peggy is answering in her study.
We now know that the female will curl up to lay her egg into the pouch. We've seen echidnas in this position quite often, curled up with their tail close to their body. and in that way they have easy access to the pouch. An echidna only has one external opening, called the cloaca, that's used both for excretion and reproduction. And it's in this curled up position that the female can actually extend the cloaca and deposit her single egg directly into the pouch opening.
Winter is the breeding time for lots of creatures on Kangaroo Island, like the black swan. There's an abundance of food that continues through spring and helps ensure the survival of young. The Cape Barren goose was on the edge of extinction. Favourable conditions on Kangaroo Island have given it a chance to survive. Peggy and Mike return to the beach reeds to try to find Pip. They want to check her pouch again.
Right, it's day 23 now. She didn't have an egg 2 days ago, so let's check her today.
All right.
Pretty strong.
Coming back strong. All right.
Just
You
carefully
got
open
her?
the pouch.
You got
Hey,
it.
there's one there.
You got an egg.
Right.
Well, okay.
Think you can get
well,
some
here-
pictures?
Yeah, just let her back onto your hand. a minute. You got it?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna get the camera ready.
I'm always excited. It's so exciting. I don't know if it's like motherhood, but
I need your hand. Okay, your
Okay.
hand's at it. There we go. I got the egg. Okay.
very good. This tiny little puggle that doesn't even have a teat to attach to in the mother's pouch actually has to hold on to the hairs upside down and backwards, pull itself up from the bottom of the pouch about 6 times its own body length up to the milk patch area and suckle for the first time. And when you see it, it's just nothing, smaller than a jelly bean. And you can see the milk in the stomach. It's totally translucent. And you know that in 6 months' time, it's going to be covered with spines and look like an echidna.
In early spring, cold winds blow off the Southern Ocean. Peggy and Mike check the pouch of their biggest echidna, Big Mama. They find a week-old young one called a puggle and name her Champagne. Champagne may be the only young her mother produces for several winters. She might live to be 50 years old. She eats invertebrates, which are a stable food source. She won't be aggressive or territorial. As an adult, she'll have few predators and good defences, but as a young puggle, she's vulnerable. The puggles grow rapidly. This is Champagne at 2 weeks. At 5 weeks, she's a real handful for Peggy.
I feel very, very special, very honoured to know an echidna from the time practically that it was conceived. And some of these animals I've been following for 4 years now. I want to find out when they become sexually mature, and it will be my biggest thrill when my first baby girl has her own puggle.
The island's like a window in the past for a biologist. We don't have the pests, the introduced rabbits, the foxes. Our vegetation is like the island vegetation was when the explorers discovered it. The Tammar wallaby is a very small marsupial we have here. He was the first of the marsupials to be discovered by the early explorers. Today, he's disappeared from much of his mainland range. But here on Kangaroo Island, we have this tremendous diversity, and we have life going on like it has for a very, very long time. It's still intact, and it's all intertwined.
By the time she's 8 weeks old, Champagne no longer fits inside Big Mama's pouch. She just hangs on underneath. Peggy's fascinated.
In one way or another, I have a feeling that echidnas will probably always be part of my life. When an echidna looks you in the face, it's like, I want to know more. And because I wanted to know more, I threw myself basically into it. And I'm here now. And I'll be here for a long time, I think.
This is a dangerous time for Puggles. If Champagne loses her grip, Big Mama would have no way of picking her up. It would mean certain death by these meat ants. At this stage, Big Mama forages up to 18 hours a day, and her Puggle's too large to carry. She digs a nursery burrow for Champagne. She'll return to feed her only once every 5 days. Four months later, and it's midsummer, a time of heat and drought. Perfect for large, hungry goannas. Fortunately for Champagne, her spines are now long enough to protect her. She's ready to leave the burrow, independent from Big Mama. Spike's out foraging, when suddenly he smells and hears something new.
The echidna has been able to cope and adapt to over 110 million years of environmental changes, such as the Ice Age and the atmospheric conditions that probably wiped out the dinosaurs. We've only known the echidna for 200 years. There are still many, many survival strategies that we don't understand about the echidna. Yet I believe, given habitat and given a chance, the echidna can survive.